for Deft. He barely gets out of this one, and now you've lost control of a lane that you already had pushing power in, and feels like a little bit wasteful to go for that type of all in. Losing your summoner as well here. Yes, you still have the Hex Flash here as Vista, but it's painful.
One upside here is that if you can set up a play or maybe a possible dive around Gumayushi at some point, now that the flash isn't available, that might provide you a little bit of counterplay. But
fully charged.
Probably going to be the same story which you've seen throughout the entire tournament, which is Gumayushi gets Aphelios' Faker.
Yeah, gonna have to claw his way out, and he does so. But Chovy once again with a lot of control on the wave. And now, if Faker goes home, it's going to be a lot longer before he makes his way back to the lane, as Vista also unlocked on his way back in after having to blow that flash bottom side.
This is the type of play I was talking about with this Nautilus that we see from Vista all the
By
time.
my
calculations, to do
calculations.
effort, of course, from the LCK, very famous for doing this on the Nautilus, where you have something like a Varus, you keep that lane pushed, you have the bio, and then you just come up mid, and if Faker is not here, obviously you don't look for the pick, you just help push the wave up and grab some of the extra CS. So, it's being nice here for Chovy. Will we get a free back as a result?
I liking this from Vista, helping out Chovy, who really wanted to back that, but the wave not actually crashing. So, getting a little bit of help there from his support, making sure that those stacks stay down and you share the gold that is available to you. And again, Kana not really getting any resources, really a big switch up that we've seen here in style from T1, especially recently where they have been focusing so much on Kana, but so far, it's working out fine, right? Gumayushi and Kerry are able to generate leads quite aggressively.
Yeah, Owner as well with a decent lead in the jungle. Hit level 5 a little bit earlier. Is able to be a couple of camps ahead of what Will has been able to do as well. So far, the Poppy, not exactly active as far as getting lanes ahead, but certainly is able to do a lot of work for himself. Scanner now looking for his first plate of the game, and will snip that one down very
Morgan saves his teleport, wants to have that for potential skirmish on the bot side of the map, where Owner has been hovering quite a bit. He's taken away the Raptor camp now here on the blue side. So having that teleport in those bot skirmishes, that was something Lyric joked about earlier on for the early game for this Renekton player. It's certainly something that could be very useful in the next upcoming moments. So speaking of which, I mean, you could see the group up here. Willer is scouting this out, and having that teleport right now is so critical for Morgan.
Really like this read here, because you see the camp is gone, you see the ward, it's relatively fresh, so there's a reasonable expectation that Owner is still hovering about top side. Vista and Deft play accordingly, very respectfully, and with that knowledge, Morgan also, again, available to shove in. And the problem, of course, inherently in this matchup is, yeah, he gets played. I think he does really well in the 1v1, as you do expect early on. But this is not the kind of lead you need to secure against the Gwen, because once that Riftmaker hits, it already becomes a lot harder to just stay away from the threat of an all-in with needlework, and then post-Sakamiden, it's much, much worse.
Yeah, I want to see what happens after this first Rift Herald, because that's when things can really get out of hand.
That was a sexy follow, but not actually going to eventuate, result in any.
Well, I mean, he gets a nice trade here once again.
Looked very, very good.
It did look cool, and Vista's here. I mean, we've talked about this so much power here with this roam.
Double backs.
Hex Flash?
Needs a few extra links in that chain, unfortunately.
Almost Herald time.
But the timing of this is so huge. Just like we saw last game, you force Faker in, you shove these waves in, Herald spawning, Life Esports trying to get every small advantage they can before this objective they know T1's going to fight for.
And Chronicler, are T1 going to fight for it?
I know this is a trick question, because everyone knows the answers to this, Atlas. This is the freebie points on the pop quiz. Yes, they will 5-man commit to Herald, because they've always done it.
That's a pass mark for you at least there, Chronicler. We'll check back in.
Gumayushi and Carrier shoved out the early wave, are just going to sack the wave that's being shoved in the bot right now, but Humble Life actually able to get over here with everyone.
Is this a River K-Ram, potentially, in this one, as Morgan walks on through, getting some vision down. As you can see, Faker taking care of the mid lane. The rest of Humble Life Esports moving on in.
They have a lot of vision control around this Herald, so they can collapse on the Faker, force some resources to come back mid. Faker's going to have to clear this wave. At some point, T1 is going to have to engage if they want this.
Yeah, down to one caster creep each. They are both going to be cleared out. Both of these wards also dying at exactly the same time. Both of these teams doing almost exactly the same thing. See whether an actual fight is going to break out as Hum Alive remain in control as far as vision is concerned on the Herald.
You have teleports.
Yeah.
Just send Kana to bot to actually
exactly.
catch the wave. Stop
Exactly.
letting the wave die.
Yeah, I'm actually sad also too that T1. I mean, look, it looks like they are going to commit to this, which is very, very greedy in terms of positioning. Your Faker has to be so careful. They're just going to straight up start this.
Oh, engaging in onto T1 is dangerous, though, as we've got a back coming through from Morgan, maybe thinking about getting himself an item. A teleport coming on down from T1 as Faker's going to get hooked, has the ultimate, keeps himself alive. Chains of Corruption come out as well, though, as Deft looking for some arrows. Shelly getting in amongst it as well, as she eventually decides that she wants to get out, as Chovy bullying Gumayusi away from this pit, and T1, they don't want the fight.
T1, I mean, they really just got completely out-rotated here. Morgan's on the backside, by the way, and is going to be able to catch this wave, but hit point advantage goes to Live Esports. They've got long-range engage, too. You have to respect this as T1. This could be a huge mistake. There's a teleport coming through top side here.
That's the second teleport to come on in. Faker, no flash available, but now has full health once again. As Morgan, he can blast code over, but the information is now there from T1. They know that this isn't going to work out, as Owner is going to steal away the Rift Herald. Now Morgan diving on in immediately. He gets exhausted. Canna looking for Willer on the backline, but has he overextended is the question. Morgan staying alive for so long, and first blood goes to Faker. Chovy gets smashed into the wall at the back of Shelly's pit, but does make his way out. Gumayusi trying to get him, as they're not going to fall for that funny business. It's a double kill for Faker, and T1 a huge lead in the early game.
It would not be an LCK quarterfinal versus LCK v LCK quarterfinal, but we're going to have crazy extended fights here on the Rift Herald. I gotta say, T1, it looked risky, it looked really greedy. They were there with low health points, but when they put that ward over the wall, I think it was Faker who actually hit that blast cone to keep Morgan out. That was the turning point. You push Morgan away in that moment, he can't come in on top of everybody else. Baker teleported to the top side of that fight. The beginning was really scary, but they ended up winning the fight at the end of the day. And so much aggression, so much all-inning from Live Esports. Chovy's not able to get the kill on Kana, who's now going to get a ton of extra gold on the top side of the map.
And here in the X replay, I think, yeah, this blast cone is really, really big. I think in general, just again, the limit tasking that is being found here by T1 is incredible. Like, look at how confident Kana is playing. This is some needles, but the amount of damage that he soaks is up to the very limit. Gets healed by Guma once he goes back into the rest of his team. Barely stays alive as Chovy goes in. But in the end, it's T1 that's standing. My main issue with this fight is not how well it's played out, because I think both sides did well, but why did we stand there for 2 minutes as multiple waves were just being thrown back and forth in that bot side? Not necessary at all. However, like last game, the fight I think was played out nicely by both sides, and the end result, T1 is the one that are very, very happy by the end of it.
I think the pessimistic LCK caster take on this is not a good look for our region, but you know what? It was certainly flashy, okay?
No, it was beautiful.
Dad Wolf makes his return to the world stage. I like it.
But yeah, I think the blast cone was the entire crux of Live Esports' plan, because you're teleporting back in as Morgan, and if you don't get that engaged, you can't get over that wall, your whole plan crumbles in an instant. So that ward and that hit there by Faker to destroy the blast cone just makes this fight a 5v4, unfortunately. So we're going to see a bit of a support battle here on the bottom side of the map. The streak is the next objective to contest. Right now, Faker has control of the mid-wave. Owner's got the faster rotation.
Yeah, Dev's actually going to have to cleanse very early on in this one just to get rid of some Winter's Bite slow. As the ult does go wide there from Carrier, was expecting him to walk into the brush, decides to take the long way around, but it doesn't really matter. They get the cleanse, they also get more plates here. And Deft is being pushed way back. And I think that fight around the Rift Herald